And we should be on. But yeah, $1.50 for Vermintide is what you're looking at right now. It's a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, cheap games is something that I'm always looking for nowadays, especially cheap older games, because I think they work better with older systems. Because I've been upgrading is expensive these days.
Yes, it is. It's going to get more expensive.
Yeah. I'm just getting these last minute technical stuff on, but we are on, and we are on with a special guest and a good friend of mine these days. We met on a Conan Exiles stream that I was doing, and he's very known, very respected. I say you're respected modder for the game Conan Exiles. So if anybody's playing that game or knows that game, you probably know this guy's name, Multigun. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Vader, how you doing?
I'm good. So the second episode of this style of gamer talk, I like to call it. Not really a podcast, but I like gamer talk and talking to real gamers and people that just love gaming and have been involved in certain things, whether they're content creators or modders. And you, my friend, are a modder, aren't you?
I am.
How long have you been modding?
I started in 2018 of April.
2018 of April. And as far as your resume goes, you only have one game that you've modded, right? Is that Conan, or have you modded others?
Yeah, like 99% Conan. I made small mods for myself for other games, but it's for the public. It's all been Conan.
Yeah, Conan Exiles. I got into that game when they did early access, and I was really excited for it when it came out, because I was always a fan of Conan, the movies, and I never read the comics though, but the movies were my thing, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was a good time. And when they came out with Conan Exiles, an open world survival builder game, I was all about it. However, of course, when it first released, it wasn't ready. It was early access, and I had a good time with it. It took a while for me to start using mods. Obviously, because when it came out, they weren't really supported. So when you say you started modding the game in 2018, was that when mods were? Did you start right when they were allowing mods?
No, modding for Conan actually started when early access did back in February 2017. That's when a lot of the OG guys got started, like Testerly and Hades and Josh Tech and all those guys. I came in, even though I've been around for a long time with Conan, was still a late comer in comparison to those guys.
Right. So, are you looking at my screen right now?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm currently on your workshop page. And I counted that you've been involved in or have been an author of about 23 mods. Would that be right?
Something like that.
Something like that. And one thing I've noticed about everything that you've been involved in is everything is pretty much 5 stars, with the exception of probably one, which is 4 stars. Let's see.
That's
or 2.
The Steam rating system is kind of is not great. It basically requires a certain amount of threshold of ratings for it's not an average rating. In other words, like if 5 people give you 5 stars, it's not going to show up as 5 stars. You have to reach a certain threshold before it'll say, "Oh, now you have 5 stars." It doesn't really matter how many negative downvotes you have either. At that point, it's once you reach 5 stars, you're 5 stars.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well,
it doesn't really. It just 5 stars means that enough people have rated the mod to get you to 5 stars. That's really it.
Nice. Out of all these, which one would you say is your favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite.
You don't have a favorite. Oh, I can understand that.
I have mixed feelings on modding these days. So I can tell you the one I probably worked on the most, and unlike popular belief, it's not LEPR, it's Javelin Improves. That's probably the one I put the most time into by a mile.
Yeah, I remember you kept pushing that one on me, and I gotta admit I used it and it was really good, and I had a great time with it. It's a great weapon mod. And you said you put the most time in that one.
Mhm.
That's this one here, Javelin Improved.
Yeah. There's just so much involved with weapon making, especially for Conan. There's so much back end involved. Like for our server mod, I put together a dual wield sword for a person who uses the server. I told him I would make it months ago. A very specific dual wield sword he wanted, and that alone took me like I don't know how much time, but it took several. It's not just create a weapon. Like there's several steps involved to get everything working with Conan properly. Like it's one thing to make it work in action and combat, but it's another to make sure that all the little details about it, I can't really explain it right, work right with Conan, like including like how it displays on the display rack correctly. Like you have to like change all of that. You have to set up all of that. Like every little thing you have to set up, and then there's the balance concerns. And last season for Conan, or last chapter or age, whatever they called it, they kept changing how combat worked significantly, and that meant I had to keep changing Javelin Improved to keep it current with the latest changes. And yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I could imagine. I, you know, being just I guess a game player, right? I never really messed around with modding or trying to create a game or work with game engines, because I think when you're modding, you definitely have to have like some kind of game engine, right? Or use the dev kit. Is that something you guys use a lot of?
Yeah, so Conan, there's different. I don't know a lot about how other games do it, but for Conan, because a lot of other games use like basically like hacky tools because it's not officially supported. Like I played Monster Hunter World recently, and that's got quote unquote modding in it, but it's not actually supported in any way, shape, or form. And basically, the modding community has to use a lot of hacky tools to inject their stuff into it, basically. But for Conan, they we have an official dev kit that the dev team puts together, and I'll give them their flowers for that because it does take significant work to not only build but maintain a dev kit. I recently worked with the not a whole lot, but I worked with a little bit in the beginning for uh, Soul Mask's dev kit in their beta period, and I gave them a lot of insight into that and letting them know that what they that they have a lot of work cut out for them, basically, because it's not just about building the dev kit and creating all the tools for the mod creators, but it's also maintaining and adding more tools and promoting the creators and all. There's a lot involved with maintaining a dev kit,
Oh yeah, I could
especially when the
imagine.
game's still active.
Yeah, I could imagine, man. Like I said, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Conan uses Unreal Engine.
Yeah, Unreal Engine 4.15. It's very heavily modified at this point. They've backported a lot of stuff, including from I think UE5. Don't quote me on that.
Hmm.
Actually, I'm not positive on that. But they have definitely backported newer features of Unreal into their version of Unreal.
Yeah,
Um, it's significantly modified now, so you can hardly call it 4.15.
I see. So I started using Unreal Engine 5. I downloaded it just to play around with it, and of course, for somebody that doesn't know where to begin, I look at everything as all foreign to me, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm never going to be making a game. I'm not going to develop or mod a game. Do you use any other programs when you're modding for Conan Exiles?
I use Maya, Photoshop. Um, I have used program called 3D Coat. I've used Substance. Uh, I forget what it's called these days. Designer, Substance Designer, and yeah, those programs. Haven't used them in a while, so I'm blanking on their names.
Gotcha.
But mostly Maya, Photoshop, some Substance, 3D Coat when I need more extensive UV mapping. There's
Yeah.
probably programs I'm forgetting.
Out of all these mods that you've created or worked on, because obviously you said there some mods you worked on with other modders, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Out of all these, which ones would you say gave you the most challenge? Like, were the most challenging ones to work with, or took a lot out of you, so to speak?
I guess LEPR, because it's the one I've had to put, the most effort into. I mean, Javelin Proof is the one I put the most hours into, but I don't know if working on Javelin Proof is necessarily like challenge wise, because it's a lot of data table work.
So
It's more to my strength.
LBPR, and I'm sorry to cut you off. That's what's the less building placement restrictions, right? That's the one.
Yeah, there's. I don't know if it's necessarily hard, but there is a lot of code involved, and there's not. That's not necessarily my strength. Coding is not my strength at all, which is what Hades and those guys have helped me with in the past.
Gotcha. So this one's very code heavy.
It's only code, yeah.
Only code.
And my strengths, I'm more of a designer, so I understand building systems and building, not like literally building it. I understand game systems, and I like to create new things. Like with Javelin Proof, I created lots of new javelins, and I'm not the greatest 3D artist, but that's more my strength.
Gotcha.
Than code.
Well, you say you're not the greatest, but I used Javelin Improved, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was really nice the way you did it. So props to you for that.
Yeah, that one's again more my strength in terms of a designer's role is kind of like a jack of all trades. They do a little bit of everything, but they yeah. So that's kind of where my strengths lie. But when it's straight code like LEPR is, that's where I kind of fumble.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking at all these mods, and I'm like, man, like you really were involved in this Conan mod scene, and I have to say I've always had a lot of respect for modders, especially when you put in a lot of time and effort into something for other people to enjoy, and you kind of really don't get anything back for it, so to speak, right?
Not really.
Like maybe you'll get some praise here and there, but you probably also get a lot of angry people.
You get vastly more angry people than you get people saying thank you.
Yeah. You have any stories about like some unhappy users of your mods?
Yeah, endless.
You don't have to say names or anything. Anyone that sticks out.
I've had people threaten to come after me because I updated a mod all of 30 minutes after they restarted their server. As if I was supposed to know when they were going to restart the server and plan my mod updates around it. And that was LBPR. Thousands upon thousands of servers use LBPR. And that was it. Conan's heyday. Like how, yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, Conan's heyday. A lot of people have their own private servers, and basically they'll they run their servers. They have people playing on them, and if they're using your mods or anyone else's mods for that matter, if you update that mod, it doesn't really work on their server until they update it. And so basically people would start their server or log on, and it's like, oh, it's not updated, and they get upset or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Almost every time I update a mod, especially LVPR, I usually get people telling me it's broken, especially on the weekends, which I did this most recent weekend. And I kind of forgot it was the weekend when I updated it, and I regretted it because immediately I started getting the people coming in saying, roll it back, it's broken. And can you recook it again? And all it was a mod mismatch, and that just meant that their server needed to be updated and their client needed to be updated. Yeah. And I had to explain it over and over and over and over again to people that it's out of my hands. It's on you guys. Once it's on Steam, I can't do anything about it. It's up to you to fix the mismatch now.
Yeah,
it's a
that
yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. Now, out of all your mods, I've used plenty of them. I don't think I ever used this improve NPC engagement though, but Mount Combat Restored, that was a good one. Uh, Javelin Improve, obviously, LBPR, which LBPR was really cool because it adds so many different building options in the game as well. You first, not only can you just build anywhere on the map, but they added a lot of different materials and furniture and things like that.
You're thinking of the additional features mod, but
Yeah,
yes.
with the additional features, yeah. Yeah, that's the one. That one I've used, and very impressive work. Like, I don't know, man. It's just I always say I'm just in awe when you're a person that doesn't know how to do this, but I can appreciate it, so much that it adds, just another level of fun to the game. It could take an old game that is kind of dead, and if people start putting out mods like these, it just brings new life to the game and keeps people engaged and happy with it.
I should really update those screenshots since they're a little bit behind the times, but yeah.
Yeah,
Those screenshots are all when the old dice system in that mod. Now it's significantly more advanced, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they're very more advanced, but it's hard, man, because like I said, you guys are putting all this work into this, taking all this time out of your personal schedules, your lives, and you pretty much don't get any compensation whatsoever. I mean, other
Yeah.
than, so I guess what I would ask you, and maybe obviously you work with other modders and you guys probably have thoughts about this. What motivates you to keep working on these things?
It starts with this an interest in game development and challenge. Usually, that was one of the biggest reasons I got into it. Was that I started to enjoy it was the constant challenge of learning things. Um, and if that's all it was, I probably would still be heavily into modding. Um, but I think after that point, what keeps you going is mostly just you feel responsible for your mods.
Yeah, I think
A lot of people have quit and just stopped supporting their mods altogether, and I almost envy those people because I feel like I have this weight of responsibility on my shoulders that I feel like I can't completely just quit.
right. It's kind of a sense of it's your baby, right? It's your heart, it kind of life's work, so to speak, and it means a lot to you to put out a good product for people.
I wouldn't say it's my baby, but it would feel like I wasted all that time if I just stopped supporting it and poofed into thin air.
Gotcha. One of my favorite mods of yours, and I actually did a YouTube video showcasing this mod, was the Undead
Right
Horse
there,
mod. Yeah, man.
first video.
Yep, this one right here. This was one
Hello,
of
my friends.
Whoa,
Beta
that's
Shader.
me. Hold on a second. Yeah, this one right here. I got to tell you, I had the most fun with this mod. It's it's just, I don't know. The thing about a game like Conan Exiles, right? There is some sort of fast travel element to it. And they added mounts later on in its development. And they were fun, but I always felt like it was so slow to get around the map. And when I started using your Undead Horse mod and I got one of these horses made, not only was it's not lore breaking either, it's actually lore friendly. Like, and that's another thing we'll touch on. I think all of Multigun's mods that he worked on has been lore friendly, which is something I appreciate more than total reworks of a game. Yeah, but this horse mod, man, was one of my favorites. What prompted you to work on this one?
The original horse model was something that Funcom was going to release to everybody at some point, and then they decided that they weren't going to. They had their reasons, and it's not my story to tell why. But they decided since they weren't going to release it to the public, in terms of like a game feature, that they would make it available for mod use. And so, like literally, that first the first time I had it available, I created a quick little mod that just added the original horse model, and I didn't really do anything else with it. And then just over time, I'm not a character or monster artist, so I can't like make new horses, like new models. So I just was trying to think of little things to add to the mod. So then I saw that they took the same model eventually and added it to the battle pass, but they modified the model a little bit, and they made it into a white version with the blue tint on it. And so then I decided, you know what, I can make other colors.
Yeah,
So I made
different
other
variants.
colors. And then I actually checked in with them later on because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And I said, is it okay if I make a blue version? You know, they're different models technically, but they were so close in similarity. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes, and they said it was fine. It's not like there was a ton of people using this mod anyway, so it's not like it's gonna break any banks. But
Which
so
which is interesting. You say not a ton of people. I think they should, especially if you like to get around the map pretty quickly. Because some of these horses, man, they had they were a little faster depending on the saddle. I think you made.
they are slightly faster. Their base speed is slightly faster than vanilla, and there's a lot of code actually involved with that. And Cybercat, another mod creator for Conan, helped me with that.
Nice.
Because it's not just a simple data table update. There's actually backend code going into effect to make them run just even a little bit faster than base vanilla. And then the saddles, you can add the saddles are a data table thing. So that one, which is just an Excel sheet essentially, but inside Unreal. And that one, the saddles, you can manipulate their speed. And so the saddles added an extra element. And the saddles that you often use were for mount combat restored, which is the invisible saddles were the ones that made it so you could run. Because I basically made it like them faster, but with like zero offense to them, like zero defense. And so you could just ride basically bareback, but you could run faster. And so you what you did is you combined the two on my recommendation. That's how you were able to zoom around the map.
Nice. Yeah, that was fun, and that's one of the reasons why I loved it, because I was able to just like zip around, the map's pretty good. And it wasn't like it was ultra fast, it was just the right amount of speed. You guys calculated to get to right amount of speed just to get around the map as quickly as you can, but not too fast that it breaks, immersion, so to speak.
It's always my balance is always my concern when I make stuff, always. And so I did make it a lot more challenging to get these horses than a normal horse. So I wanted to give players a reward, but I didn't want to like completely make them superior in every way to the vanilla horse. And so I just made it like slightly better, slightly faster, slightly more health.
Yeah, you didn't make it easy to get them either.
No.
You did not make it easy to get them, because I remember I was just, and it's funny because one of your biggest thing, I was bugging you a lot around the time because, you started coming to my Twitch channel, and, and I kept asking you questions, and you're like, hey man, like there's so much information on the mod page. Like, but you were very helpful, and I appreciate that. But yeah, some of these horses, man, you like to get them. They all had different, I would say, elements to them.
Yeah, they're different colors, but they also have different attack because they're like Mount Combat Restored. They also attack. That was one of the other benefits of getting them. And each color variant had their own different element attack, basically.
Right, and then to get them, you would have to get different materials. Like it wasn't like one type of material to get the green horse, and it's not the same as getting, let's say, the red one or whatever, or the yellow one.
Yeah, they're all different. I couldn't tell you what they were anymore offhand, but yeah, they're all different.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Wow. So you started 2018 working on Conan. Basically, you started for the challenge. And now you, are basically maintaining them as long as the game is around. A lot of other modders have kind of said, see ya. But you're still around.
That workshop page you were just on, there was a a top mod listed, and it was a relaunch of Cookie's Immersive Armors, and Cookie was the one who made that mod originally. And they quit too, so they found somebody to take over their work. But a lot of people don't find people to take over their work for various reasons. Yep.
So this one
So
right
Cookie
here.
was the original, yeah, and they had somebody else take over, and because they were done, they wanted to move on.
Right. Yeah.
But a
It's see.
lot of mod creators don't want us to offer their work to other people for their own reasons, and they're within their rights to do so. So a lot of mods just get abandoned, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, I appreciate. I always, like I said, I can't say this enough. I always appreciate you guys and the work you put into this to help, just us regular gamers, enjoy a game, a little differently than the vanilla, right? Or at least, give us variety to keep playing. And it's a lot of work, man. Have you always been a gamer your whole life?
Yeah, mostly. Since I was a kid, my grandma, of all people, got me into. She had a Nintendo at her house, a regular NES.
Yeah, the
And
NES. Yeah.
we would play games together on that, and it wasn't just for show either. She was good. She was really good because every record on all those games she held. Because back then you had those little records like on Dr. Mario and all that, and she had records on all the games.
Wow.
She was number one on all of them.
Grandma
So,
gamer. I love that. Respect. Yeah. Respect. Do you remember the first video game you've ever played?
It was probably either NES or Atari, because we also had an Atari, but I couldn't tell you which was the first. I can't remember which Atari it was either. It was like the 7800 or something.
I think any NES player probably started playing Super Mario Brothers. I mean, that's just unless
Maybe.
I mean,
I may have started with the Atari, because that's what we had at our house too. But I didn't really get into gaming until my grandma, basically, is how I would put it.
And about how old were you when you started playing games?
I don't know. I don't know. I was very, very young, 5, 6.
Oh, wow.
4. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I was around probably, I want to say, like 4 or 5, because I remember playing Atari. So, yeah, I remember playing Atari, and Atari games were so interesting because, especially if you're young, you have no idea what you're doing. All you see is just things on the screen, and you're making them move. And that was enough for me to like get kind of hooked on whatever it was. Even if I never finished a game or didn't know what I was doing, I enjoyed it.
Man, I would still play Atari games. If you threw Joust or Dig Dug in front of me, I would be all over that.
Joust, yeah. Joust is fantastic. Actually, Joust was really good.
Made by Midway back in the day. The same guys who made Mortal Kombat eventually.
Midway made that, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. So you started playing that, and then I guess from there, that was history for you?
I guess so, yeah.
What's your favorite gaming genre?
I don't think I have one.
Mine would probably be action role-playing games, or any kind of action or role-playing game, I would say. But one of my favorite series of all time is Metal Gear Solid series, which is kind of like an action movie game, but yeah.
I only played the very first Metal Gear, and that was on my buddy's PlayStation, because I never owned a PlayStation, so I kind of missed that series.
You miss PlayStation.
Yeah, I was always a Nintendo. I had Atari NES. Then I had a hand-me-down Sega Genesis and a Game Gear, and then I saved up enough money to buy my own Nintendo 64, and then I got a GameCube and then a Wii, and that was the Wii was the last console I ever bought. It's been PC primarily.
Nice. Yeah, I think as long as I live, I'll be playing video games. As long as I can, as long as I can see the screen and move my fingers on a controller, I'll be fine.
Even then, I would probably try to find, if I can't use my fingers, I would probably try to find some sort of like eye coordination game. You know,
Yeah,
of the,
with the way technology's going, I mean, you never know, man. You probably be able
they're
to.
making stuff like that. My partner's brother, he has shoulder and hand issues, and he's been looking into eye tracking software to play some of the games he used to enjoy.
Wow, yeah, that'll be something. Hopefully, we'll still be around to see that. Um, but if we don't, good luck, people in the future. If you ever find this video and enjoy, okay, we dreamed it, you have it, so to speak. I'm looking at this thing here. One of your mods. What's the Better Builders Bureau? Is that a Discord that you're a part of, that you created or a part
Yeah,
of?
so I would say the co-owner of the Builders Bureau Discord server. It started mostly as a place to go to get support for the uh, for my mods and Hades mods. And then Diaso, who's kind of like my partner in crime, he helped with a lot of the stuff over the years with the Discord, and it eventually evolved into like a place where people can go and just to discuss their buildings and talk about and get help with building. And then Hades got a sponsorship many years later through a server provider called Zap Hosting, and we with that we got a free Conan server, and so I made a little mod for that the server uses.
I
Um,
I gotcha.
and that's it.
So if any like Conan Exiles players that are of good character, of course, no trolls, but any good Conan Exiles players looking for a mod server to play on, with a great community that uses decent non-lore breaking mods, they could probably join up the Better Builders Bureau Discord, maybe.
Yep.
Nice. You guys, do you allow any Conan Exiles players to come if they're interested?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, anybody's welcome as long as they on PC, obviously, because that's the only platform that supports mods. So
PC only, guys. PC only. Would it be okay with you if I put a link on the video description to the
sure.
to the Discord?
Sure.
Or yeah, if you well, actually, yeah, we'll work that out because I can't make a link, but you probably can, or you probably have one already somewhere here, right?
I do.
Yep.
Yeah, join our Discord. You click on that, and it'll take you straight to the.
Yeah, I think I'm in it.
Yeah, if you continue, you can copy that URL if you wanted to.
I got your X page up, by the way. No,
What I don't use anymore. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, but definitely, we'll figure out a way to get this link there for people. Yeah, I just I just want to say, like, I appreciate all the work you guys put into these mods, and it's are there any other games that you're interested in modding for? Or I know you mentioned that one that was in early access. What was it called?
I guess you're thinking of Wayfinder.
Yeah, Wayfinder, but you're thinking about it. You're not sure yet, right?
Yeah, well, it depends. It's the art style in terms of what I can create for art is not there because they use stylized, and I'm more of a realistic artist.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't create any art, but I was interested in making one or two small mods for it depending on, because mod support isn't out technically yet for Wayfinder, and they're going to add it soon, and it's just going to depend on what those tools look like. If it involves back end like or backdoor hacky things, then I probably won't. But if it has actual dev kit or like actual tools to use, then I would probably make just one or two very small mods. And then as far as any other games, I mean, who knows? I keep that door open. If there's another game I'm very passionate about, That's based on UE5, hopefully, because I really want to get into Unreal Engine 5 now. Maybe I'll work on that someday.
Nice. You got any advice for people that want to get into modding? You never know. You never know. There might be somebody may watch this and say, you know what? I like mod. I want to mod. You know.
I'm half joking and half serious when I say this. And
don't. Half joking, half serious. Okay.
Yeah. If you're seriously wanting to mod, just I don't know. There's it takes a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of your free time. And if to me, if you want to get into modding, I feel like you really have to be dedicated to it and understand that this is something you might be committing yourself to for years and years, especially if it's a game receiving continuous updates like Conan did.
That's fair. That's fair to say. I would say, yeah, that's fair. I know I will never start modding games. I just like using them. So, and again, like it's easy for a user to, for us, it's just a, subscribe, a download, a file and that's it. And we don't realize how much work actually goes into these mods. So I would say like my message to just people in general, like go easy on your modders. When I hear stories like what you were telling me about, getting threats or whatever, it's not right. These guys are putting a lot of work into these mods for us to enjoy, and there's no room for that kind of behavior. I would say, just give these guys a break, give these modders a break. They put a lot of time in, they put a lot of effort, and they get little to no nothing actually back in return. I know Bethesda has been doing like they've been doing some paid mods where they can like some modders can get paid for some of the mods they put on there, but for the most part I don't think most gamers want to pay for mods, so it's kind of like in that weird realm of like we're not paying for this, it's
mod creators should be paid, but you're right that most gamers don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, and
I think if there's modding is on its way out, like less and less games are offering mod support, and as games move to streaming platforms, where you stream, to like Xbox or whatever, and GeForce Now and all those, mod support is becoming less and less, even more because those platforms usually don't support modding in any way, shape, or form. And so if there's a future in modding, it's probably going to have to be paid. I think it's got to be something that the developer goes out of their way to add, and they're going to have to find some way to reward mod creators in some capacity in order to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know when that switch will happen, but I think that's what's going to happen eventually.
I would say like, we're just throwing ideas out there, right? I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I'm just throwing ideas out on here. Hey, developers, if anybody at some point ever watched this small video, I would say like if you got modders out there making mods for your game that are popular and people are enjoying them, I would say like try to get them on a payroll, man. If you want to start making DLC, because sometimes these guys have ideas that that might be, because it's easy. It's hard. I don't know about game development so much, but I know there's a lot of work that goes into it. Right. And, sometimes there are things that make the game more fun or more popular. Because I got to admit, I think most people that are probably playing Conan Exiles right now are probably using mods. Would that be fair to say? Or do you think that, I think if they're not on official servers, right, they're using mods. Everyone wants to use mods.
The statistics for people who use mods in all of Conan's total population is very small, even on PC.
Is it?
Yeah.
But it still brings them back. It still brings that little group of people.
The people who like modding, they can't they can't play the game without modding. I would put it that way.
Right. I don't know, man. Maybe something has to give. Like I said, maybe just scoop these people up. You know, what is it? Some governments they hire hackers. You know, you know what I mean. So it's like I don't know. Maybe adopt something like that. You know, like
I know modders do get employment every once in a while, but it's usually something that they have to reach out themselves to do.
Okay.
But that was something I was hoping for myself once upon a time, but that ship has sailed, unfortunately.
No, for me, the undead horse mod alone is something I would pay for if I, you know, during the time when I was very into Conan. I don't know how much longer I'll probably jump on it every now and then, you know, to enjoy whatever new things they put out. But
and I got a server.
Yeah,
saying.
I know. At some point, I'll jump on that and we'll play for sure, or I'll get on it. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. we had this conversation once before where people say modders don't play the games that they mod. How true is that?
Okay, I guess the more common saying is devs don't play their own games.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah.
there is that. I guess there is that saying too. Modders. Well, for a lot of the mod creators in Conan, and I think even Soul Mask, I haven't been keeping up with that community, but at the time when I was more involved in it, it was true. No, we don't play.
You don't play?
Yeah.
Really?
Not to the extent of as your free time, and that's common in the game industry too. Like obviously, game developers do play testing. They constantly are play testing, and most game development companies will have days where they just set time aside and they will just play the game just to kind of like refresh the memory of the state of the game, essentially. But if the expectation is that the game dev clocks out for the day and goes home and sits down on their couch, do you think they're pulling up the game they work on all day for a living? No, they generally don't. Some do, and they don't. Just like any other gamer, they get burnt out on their own game.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that's what it's like for me with Conan, is that when I see it as work. Yes, I'm not getting paid for it, but I'm putting serious hours into the back end of things. And so I realized this, I started modding, like I said, in April 2018. And I did it at first because I was like, oh, I want my game to be a certain way. And at the time, it was like I wanted more levels and I wanted to build anywhere I wanted to. So that's how those mods started. And I quickly realized by May of 2018 that it was impossible to both mod and play the game because all I saw was work to do. I saw assets when I walked around. I no longer saw a game or be immersed in it.
You were like Neo when he finally saw the Matrix. It's like
something like that.
That's I don't see the game. I see code. I see, you know, little things
exactly.
here and there. Yeah.
That's actually true. That has bled into other games a little bit, where like I will see something break or something, and I'll be snapped out of it, and I'll start to troubleshoot in my head what's going on, maybe on the back end. But when I play games, I'd rather be immersed. I'd rather just forget about anything else, and I just want to play my game and enjoy it. And I can't do that with Conan.
Gotcha.
Because I mod it. Which is why, like Wayfinder, you mentioned, I only mod it a little bit because I would want to keep playing it.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, it's, you know, we covered a lot. I just, you know, like I said, I'm always in awe, and I really appreciate you taking your time to talk to us about, you know, what you do, your mods for Conan, and, you know, I just think that, again, it's a lot of work that you put in. It's always appreciated. Do you have any, I know we already said don't for people that want to mod, but like if there are people out there, maybe younger people, whatever, and they thinking about they want to get into the modding scene, do they need some kind of experience, or a lot of stuff can be learned as they go?
No. experience helps. When I first got into modding, I did have some experience with Unreal Engine, so I wasn't super lost. I had some experience in Maya. That's why I keep using it in Photoshop and all those things. But if you really were trying to get into game dev, modding could be a good stepping stone for that purpose. Um, and so you could start with a game that you're interested in learning, engine you're interested in learning, like Unity or an Unreal Engine, and start working on modding for it and use it as a stepping stone to further your education to get into actual game development.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, it's been pretty good, man. We went on just almost an hour, so that was pretty good. I really appreciate it. Again, I appreciate your time, to do this, give people a little insight into, at least if not all games, right? You're specific with Conan for the most part, but like everything we talked about could kind of apply to any games that people mod, and yeah, like I said, I just appreciate your insight, and I also appreciate your mods, man, because I had some fun playing them, and I think I'll use them again in the future at some point.
Glad you had a good time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, any last words for anyone that may be watching, interested in mods, or you think we covered everything?
Sorry,
I got nothing. I got
anything
nothing.
else.
I got nothing.
Have fun, stay safe.
Yeah, that's cool. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this conversation with our good friend Multiguns. I call him the modder extraordinaire, and if you guys learned something, or if you even have any questions for me or Multi in reference to what we talked about today, feel free to leave comments down below, and look out for the next video. We appreciate you, and I hope we all have a good day. Multi, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
All right.